For those who don't know, we are the STEM research project named ProGurt. So we are a small group of 3 that have big minds that pioneered this project. This is our mentor, Dr. Murthi, and we have listed her availability and our contact, but we'll go back to that later if you actually want to contact us. So what we're doing is we're researching different types of yogurt to see the bacterial counts within them. So our hypothesis is that stored yogurt has less microorganisms than fresh-made homemade yogurt. Our objective is to determine whether or not the yogurt and other probiotic-rich foods have an optimal quantity of microorganisms as they are advertised. So they're advertised to have a lot of microorganisms so that they help your health. And we will test this by testing different types of yogurt and other fermented foods that claim to be probiotic rich. What exactly are probiotics? Because I feel like a lot of people know what they are, but like, what actually are they? So they're live microorganisms that should be beneficial to the consumer's health when consumed at an optimal quantity. They're usually referred to as good and helpful bacteria, and by good and helpful they mean that they help your digestive tract and help your overall intestinal health. So they're supposed to colonize inside your intestines and help with the consumption of the food that you take in. And they are known to improve conditions such as irritable bowel syndrome, diarrhea, and diarrhea caused by antibiotics. And probiotics are commonly found in yogurt, kefir, kimchi, kombucha, and they can also be found in pills and products that are over the counter that are supposed to have a lot.
So we chose yogurt because it's the most accessible way of getting our probiotics, and people always eat yogurt, I guess. But as a result of that, all the yogurt brands are now using it to their advantage, and they're saying, oh, we have so many probiotics within our product, like eat it, but it's actually, from the results that we got, is not true. I'm doing strawberry flavored, and Activia is the one that has like probiotic yogurt on it, like written on it. Like other ones don't really say we have probiotics on it, but Activia does. And as the results that you guys will see later, it'll show how contradicting it is, because in this commercial it's saying how it does, but it actually doesn't have enough to sustain our health.
Hey! Yeah, we totally got it all.
Don't forget your favorites, girls.
Hey, girls. The good old days when we could eat as we wanted. Yes, but we're not 18 anymore. Sometimes if I eat as I used to, my digestive system gets out of whack. It's not easy keeping it working as it should.
It's easy if you enjoy an activity every day.
Delicious.
With the exclusive probiotic Bifidus regularis, Activia helps regulate your digestive system.
Put a smile back in your day.
This is how most people see yogurt, like it makes your stomach smile, you know, probiotics align like that. Our goal is kind of to prove that wrong, because we don't think it actually does.
For how they work, unfortunately, we're not aware. Nobody's really aware of how they actually work, but we are aware that they do affect our internal health, such as antibiotics. When you take it, we're taking it to kill our viruses, but it's also killing the bad bacteria along with the good bacteria. So when you take the probiotic, it's replenishing your good bacteria. For the type of bacteria found in yogurt, they're mainly called lactic acid bacteria, and one that we're really focusing on is lactobacillus, and that's because it has special qualities such as adhering to our intestinal walls and has high tolerance to acid and bile. And this one, eventually, maybe in summer 2, we're going to try and isolate which bacteria is actually in the yogurt, and we're predicting that it's going to be lactobacillus.
In order for the microorganisms to have an optimal effect, a probiotic has to contain at least 1 to 10 billion CFUs, which is an indirect contact of bacteria. However, the yogurts in store may not have enough CFUs because they're not consumed right away and stored in the refrigerator for hours and days. The bacteria will die. And also the sugar concentration may affect, so we decided to count the number of bacteria and compare the results based on the sugar concentration. These are the supplies we use. Test tubes, pipettes, micropipettes, which help us to take the exact amount of the culture. The tips, plates, OB broth, agar, and 4 to 5 different brands of yogurt, and the spreaders. These are the yogurts we used. They're all non-fat or low-fat. Kefir is done by Theresa. I did the plain, and strawberry flavor is done by Nadine. And we tried to find the same brands for the yogurt, plain yogurt and strawberry, but we could find only 3 brands that have low fat or no fat for both.
And these are all easily accessible brands, like we just got them at ShopRite, so everyone has access to this. So, the important part of testing what kind of bacterial colonies we have and how many there are is making media. So media goes in our little petri dishes, and it really basically just serves as a medium for the bacteria to grow while it's incubating so that it has the right conditions so it can flourish and we can be able to count it. And this is a very, very long process, because by very long I mean like 2 hours. It's really not that long, but we have to mix everything and then put it in the autoclave so it can sterilize, so we can use it and not get any extra unnecessary bacteria within our counts.
The dilation, if the original yogurt has a large amount of the bacteria, we're not able to count. So as you see in this picture, the higher dilution, the easier it is to count. And this tiny circle is the colony. And each colony means it came from one single bacterial cell. And how we did the dilution is, for this dilution, for example, is done by taking 1 milliliter of original culture and adding it to 9 milliliter of the media. So now the number of bacteria in the second test tube would be 1/10 of the original.
And this diluting, it kind of delayed our process. It took a very long time to figure out for each yogurt which dilution factor we need to count at. So if like I diluted one of my kefirs to a dilution factor of 4, I was expecting to get results like that where I can count them. But after incubating for 48 hours, 72 hours, I would get results like that, and you can't count that because that's like 400 colonies in there, and I can very well make a mistake doing that. So it took a very long time to find which factor is just right for each yogurt.
This is a video of Reika diluting.
And this process takes a while because you have to do, so depending on your dilution factor, you have to do that number of test tubes, and then you have to make sure you don't hit the pipette on anything except the inside or the yogurt, or else you're going to get contaminants. And I'm known to make a few mistakes, so my process took a little bit longer than theirs, but it's very tedious.
After you do the dilutions, you take 100 microliters of the dilution factor that you want to plate, and you plate it. We plated it 3 times. So after we plated it 3 times, then we have to use a spreader and make sure we spread it out all along the plate to see as many as we can. And after we're done plating, we have to put it in the incubator. At first, we thought it was only going to take 24 hours. Unfortunately, it didn't. So there were like maybe 48 hours. That didn't work either. So right now, it's 72 hours or more each plate needs to grow so we can see the colonies and to be able to count them. This is just a quick video of plating.
And we do that for every dilution, and we do 3 of them. So like I can plate, or we can all plate like 48 different things in one day. And then do it again 3 days later to make sure those results are accurate.
And that's spreading. And then once that's done, then we put it in the incubator. After it incubates for at least 72 hours or more, then we're able to see visible colonies. And like Reika showed before, they're like the little tiny white circles, but we would like bigger white circles. So maybe if we leave it in the incubator for longer, more than 72 hours, then we can see more visible ones. There's 2 ways to count. There's an automated way, but we don't have the machines to do that. So we kind of do it the old-fashioned way. You just take a marker, and every time you see one, you have to count it. In order to get our CFU, this is the formula that we used. And for each brand, we did it 3 times. So say for Activia 10 to the 4, I did it once. I did 3 plates today, and then I do another 3 plates tomorrow, and then the day after that, I do another 3 plates to get the average.
These are the results from my plain yogurt. As you can see in the table, Siggy's and Chobani have the most, and Danone the next, and Stonyfield has the least. Those 3 have enough CFUs, but Stonyfield won't probably make it.
For strawberry flavored, Activia, it doesn't have enough CFUs for the amount of probiotics, and for Yoplait, that was my biggest struggle. Every time I did it, it took forever, and as of today, I did it for like 5 more times plus that one, and I still didn't get a good count. So we're guessing Yoplait doesn't have enough probiotics either, but these numbers also depend on the serving size on the container. So for Chobani, we're going to guess that there's just the right amount of probiotics for that serving size. And as to why we don't have the results for Chobani and Siggy's, it could be because there's so much sugar within the strawberry flavored, because they want to maintain, like, some of them have full strawberries in the yogurt, so they want to make sure the strawberries don't go bad. So they're going to put a lot of sugar in it, and the sugar could be killing the probiotics as well as the amount of time it was refrigerated.
So my kefir, I know this is a blank chart, and it's a little disappointing to see if there's no numbers on there. I was disappointed too. But so after all this testing, Lifeway, we can assume that this is going to be close to 1 billion CFUs in the container. But these other 3, we're assuming Law Yogurt, the 3rd test, which is still in the incubator and still needs to grow, that this will have close to also 1 billion CFUs. But for Lada and Fresh Made, for all the rounds of testing that I had done, they were very inconsistent results. I would dilute them to a dilution factor of 3, and I would be able to count them, and then 2 days later I would dilute them again to the same factor, and I cannot count them because there's too many. So I am still waiting for my results, which I believe are going to be accurate this time, and I will be able to count them for Lada and Fresh Made. But based on what I have done, I haven't been able to dilute them to a high enough factor, so I'm guessing that there is not enough probiotics in the Lada and the Fresh Made.
We'd just like to thank the biology department, our lab technician Richard, and the STEM program for making this project possible. Thank you.